Hello and welcome to Real Estate Pros in the Know. This is Steve Etzel coming at you from Greater Louisville Association of Realtors. Season 2, Episode 2. I'm here with Bill Anderson, which is a local real estate agent and president of our association. How you doing, Bill?
I'm doing well. How are you, Steve?
I'm absolutely wonderful. I hear you got some good information about the industry trends that are going on in the market today.
Yeah, well, I want to share some interesting things and hope it's helpful to people out there in the business and people who are interested in buying or selling.
I'm excited about this one. One of the biggest things that people ask is, who are these buyers? Who are the buyers and what are the trends going towards?
So a big percentage of our buyers are the millennials. That's the 25 to 30-year-olds. Those are the people who've been out of college for a while and they're established in life and you know they're in a relationship and now they want to settle down. They want to buy the home and buy their dream home and start a family. And so we see a lot of those millennials out there. In the last couple of years, that's probably been about half of my business is the millennials. And so I'm seeing a lot of that trend in the millennials, and they're ready to get out there and get established and get settled in the world.
Do you think a lot of it also has to do with some of the influences of maybe the appreciation that's been growing over the market?
Yes, and then also, you know, interest rates are good, so they're looking at that as a reason to get out there and buy also. You know, baby boomers are also kind of our second group in there that are out there buying. They're getting ready to go from the big house to the small house and downsize. And so they're going to condos, they're going to the 55 and older communities, and into the, you know, even sad to say they're going into the retirement communities, and some of even the older baby boomers are going into those retirement homes. And so those are the people that in that age group. They're buying differently than the millennials are, so they're what they're buying between the two of them is totally different.
But they do have a little similarities, such as condos.
Yes.
Less upkeep.
Yeah, millennials are buying both. I would probably say that the millennials, the single millennials, are going to buy condos, townhomes, something low maintenance, so they can kind of maintain their social life without having to worry about a yard. And then those millennials that are in a relationship are out buying the single family dwellings where they can now start a family. Same thing, baby boomers, they don't maybe necessarily want to be maintaining a yard unless that's just a hobby that they like to do. But they're buying into the condos and townhomes also, or they're buying in subdivisions where yard maintenance comes as part of their HOA.
What I also find interesting is there's retirement communities and millennial communities.
Yes. So the millennial communities is interesting. The millennials want to be, if they're buying out in the suburbs in a single family home, they want those communities that have amenities to offer. They want the pool, they want the lagoon, they want the tennis court, they want the community center, they want the workout center, they want a community coordinator to kind of coordinate activities, and they want to go to those activities and belong to a group and get to know their neighbors and hang out with their neighbors. And so you see a lot of that. Baby boomers, they want some of that, but they also want to they don't want to move too far away from the grandkids. They want to stay close to that family. And so even though they might be downsizing, they're going to stay within the same community typically to downsize.
Another interesting thing is that's kind of similar is a lot of millennials and also baby boomers like to be next to shopping.
Yes.
Restaurants. You know, they like their community. They like a community involvement.
Yes, they want easy access to shopping, community, restaurants, all of those amenities. Baby boomers want to be close to medical facilities because they're going to the doctor a lot more than typically the millennials will be. So they don't want that easy access to their doctors and those facilities.
To go back onto the shopping and restaurants, millennials, this is probably the only time I've ever seen this age group not even want to drive a car. They like to walk and they like to, you know, get to their areas as fast as they can through public transportation and or other means.
And they want the outside and outdoor activity space too. they want the hiking trails, the biking trails. They want all of those easily accessible. And so what's interesting is a lot of the newer communities, all the newer subdivisions that are being built out there, are making sure that they're adding those things in: the basketball courts, the bike trails, the jogging trails. All of those are out there in those areas that they're attracted to.
I saw a millennial community the other day that actually had a place where they're growing their own fruits and vegetables too.
Yes, that is. There's one particular community in the Denton area that does offer that has its own garden, and then they also do a farmer's market on weekends.
So why do you think they're buying now? I mean, besides interest rates, are there anything other enticing that a baby boomer would want to buy, or why they want to buy?
I think that it's just time, and you probably find it more in the older age bracket of the baby boomers. They've paid off their student loans, or they paid them down enough to where now they can afford to buy, and they have more money available. They're more established in their careers, and they're ready to take that next step in life.
What's really interesting, you say that about baby boomers paying off their student loans.
Oh.
What's the interesting thing about that, though, is paying off the student loans. I have actually seen to where a lot of the baby boomers, they've gone back to college mid-career, or even better yet, they've strung it out or deferred their loan payments and so on, and they finally did get a chance to pay it off. And I have actually seen a lot of changes in that as well. Not only do baby boomers pay off their student loans, but the problem is also millennials are with student loans and they're paying them off a lot quicker as well. So that's actually a good point.
Yes, that is. Millennials are still paying their student loans off, and there are some baby boomers out there who have taken on a second career.
Absolutely.
And so that sometimes is a factor in how and where they're going to buy, and those determine that second career sometimes can determine that.
I was dealing with somebody the other day. They were 62 years old and finally paid off their student loan payment. So that kind of gives you an idea where that's at. All right, we dealt with some buyers. How about sellers? Who are they?
Well, so now you're going into the next generation, the 35 to 55-year-olds who are potentially then moving up to a larger home. They bought the smaller home as their starter home, and now they're getting ready to, they've got 2 or 3 kids, and the kids are now teenagers, and the teenagers are bringing other teenagers to your house. So now you need something that's kind of bigger to separate yourself from all the ruckus that goes on when teenagers come into the picture. And so they're staying within the same community because they want to keep their children in those schools, and then they're just buying larger. And the interesting thing is they don't want to have to fix up to sell. They want to just sell as is and move on to the next house. If it's not updated, too bad, so sad. That's on you, Mr. Buyer, now. And it's really not a problem a lot of times if it's priced well and it's in a neighborhood and a community where people want to buy.
That's a good point. A lot of times the buyers want to buy a house that they can add their own design to or their own flavor to as well.
Right, and I think that condition has a lot to do with that. If it's not updated, I think buyers are okay with that, but if condition is bad, they're going to pass on that house and they'll go on to the next one.
So would this be a good time to sell?
Yes, our inventory is low right now. We could certainly use sellers to get their houses on the market right now that are ready to sell, because we are low in almost every price point, and things are moving quickly out there.
So we're kind of in a seller's market still.
Yes, we are still in a seller's market, and that makes it difficult for some of the buyers out there that are very serious. When you walk into a nice house and there's 4 other buyers following you into that house, you know that there's going to be multiple offers on that particular home. Which
actually goes back to your other point of where buyers can put their own flavor to it, because why? Sellers can sell their house without having to fix it up.
Exactly.
So it's a good rotation.
Yep, exactly.
Are there any other industry trends that we should be aware of?
Well, all of the experts and analysts out there are talking about mortgage and interest rates, and those are holding steady right now. They don't foresee that the interest rates are going to go up anytime soon. They're going to stay where they are. There are loan programs out there that buyers are available for buyers to utilize, and just contact your mortgage professional to determine what loan programs are out there that you can use to purchase.
How about housing supply? Sounds to me like we're kind of low on supply, but
we are low on supply. What's interesting is that I've seen builders, you kind of have to go further out of the Metroplex. The further out you go, the more builders you'll find that have inventory or homes that are priced in that price point where a first-time home buyer would be. And so they're out there. It's just that you're not going to get it within the city center typically, and you're going to have to go a little bit further out to get that.
So you can sacrifice a drive for a better price.
Exactly, and I'm seeing that happen. I'm seeing people willing to do that they're willing to sacrifice the commute to get a home in the price point that they want, and to and with that, a lot of times comes with the amenities that we talked about that the millennials are looking for. They're looking for those amenities, and you'll find those in some of those communities that are further out.
I've also noticed with millennials, they're really looking for technology.
Yes, they are. They are looking for technology. Technology is always going to be something that they're going to look for. With technology comes responsibility, both as a buyer and a seller. When you purchase a home that has technology and the previous owner has left that behind, you have to make sure that you do all the things to disconnect that previous owner from that technology. And if you're a seller selling and you leave that technology behind, you need to make sure that you're disconnecting yourself from that technology.
So you're talking like a nesting system or something of that nature.
Yes.
Yeah, those are really popular nowadays.
Yes, Nest, the Ring doorbell, and we're even seeing it in refrigerators now, and you can walk up to your refrigerator and it tells you what you need, or you can be on your phone with the app and it tells you what you need. And so if a seller is leaving that behind, you want to make sure that you're cutting off that technology from the previous from that seller if you're buying.
If we're going to wrap this whole thing up, we got a lot of great information. If we're going to wrap it up in 3 points, what would the 3 points be?
I would say that millennials are our most active consumer out there right now. They are the ones that are out there. That's the highest bracket of buyer out there. And like I said, they're looking for the experience, and they're looking for the community that offers the experience. Your selling bracket is probably going to be your 35 to 55-year-old. That's your next probably biggest bracket of seller. So that's the one out there that's in the seller part of it. Other housing trends, your interest rate is always going to be there, is really low, and your supply is low. So those are 2 things that are going to have to be, you have to pay attention to those things and take advantage of the interest rate when you can, but just know that the supply is kind of low, and you're going to have to be a little more on your feet to catch that.
So you're going to have to act a lot quicker.
Yep, exactly.
Well, thank you so much, Bill, for joining us today.
You're welcome.
Thank you for the great information.
You're very welcome. I appreciate it.
All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us with Real Estate Pros in the Know.